It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, folks, I've said it before, April 24th is a very important day for all of us in the state of Pennsylvania. It is a day we go out and vote. And folks, as I said many times, please vote. I don't care who you vote for, but please vote, okay? Now, talking about voting, we're trying to learn as much as we can about the people who are running for office. Today, my guest is Larry Padora. Larry is running for state representative in the 124th State Legislative District, and he's here today to tell us why you should vote for him. Larry, thanks for coming on the Sam Lesante Show.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
Before I even say anything, okay, before we even get into politics, I got to tell you, you make the best bread in the entire world, okay? The Italian bakery, you know, there on Railroad Street, love your bread, okay? It's fantastic. Now, that's a free plug because I have to say,
for the bakery.
That has nothing to do with politics, okay? Yeah, it's a tribute to your father and your family for doing such a great job. Really, they do a fabulous job.
We're very proud of the bakery.
Yeah, you could tell their hearts in it, you know.
Yeah,
all right, now let's talk about politics. Larry Padora, you know, for people who know you, you know, people come in your bakery or your six-pack, Padora six-pack house, they know who you are and they know your family. You got a beautiful family. But there are a lot of people, okay, that do not know Larry Padora, all right? And I'm a firm believer in that before I vote for anybody, I want to know who they are. I don't care what your nationality is. I don't care whether they make the best bread in the world. But now we're talking about, you know, our political system. We're talking about our lives. And that's critical, just like your family is important to you. So tell me a little bit about Larry Padora.
Well, I was born and raised in Tamaqua my whole life. And my family and I own the Italian bakery, which you just mentioned, and we also own Padora Six-Pack House, where there's another family business. I'm married to my wife Sonia, and we have two daughters, Cheyenne and Trinity. Cheyenne's already 18. I'm a little older than people think I am. I'm 38, so my youngest is 8 years old. Her name's Trinity. I live in the borough of Ringgold, where I serve as president of council. I'm on my 9th year as president of council in Ringgold. So I'm chairman of the School County Tax Collection Committee. I'm also a member of the Blue Mountain Recreation Board and a member of Southern COG of Schuylkill County. So I'm involved in my community a lot.
All right, so now here's Larry Padora. At the age 31, you decided to...
38.
No, I said at the age of 31, you decided to run for office.
Yes.
Okay, so at the age of 31, why? Okay, you have a successful business and you work hard at it. What interests you in running in for politics?
It's hard to believe, but I first decided to run because our town did not have a playground.
Okay.
So I ran because I wanted to get a playground in the town. And once I accomplished that, with my other council members, Ringgold was mandated to put a sewage treatment plant in by the state. So we did a $3 million sewage treatment plant project, and it was going to be a massive burden on the town. So by the time we were done, we managed to return to Penvest, where we got our loan for our sewage treatment plant, $147,000 at the end of our project. Our project was one of the few that came in on time and under budget, because myself and my fellow councilman and our mayor, we worked really hard to watch where every dollar went. So we managed to keep the rates down and the user fees down for everybody in the entire town. So I'm really proud of that. And then we built another playground. So now we have 2 playgrounds in the town, and we've kept our tax rates low. We did not have to increase any of our rates for sewage, garbage, or anything in how many years. So it's really about community service. I go out, the last 2 years, myself and 2 council members, we've plowed the whole town for free, just to save money, because it's about community service. We get paid $37 a month after taxes.
Wow.
And that's it.
Yeah, you go on major vacations with that kind of money.
With that kind of money, yeah, a lot of bank, but...
Well, looking at, you know, the public service part, okay, because a lot of people say, what's in it for me, all right? And, you know, we're seeing in the government today, you know, it's a shame when you look at Congress and whether Republican or Democrat, and they have the lowest approval rating in history so far. Doesn't mean that there's a lot of great congressmen or senators. It's just the fact that people are like fed up, you know, with, you know, the rhetoric and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So looking at Larry Padora and becoming, if you want to, you're aspiring to become a state representative, you know, we need to know, you know, your qualifications. We do know who's in there already, okay?
Yes.
And we know what that person has done for so many years, and I guess you want to talk about some of those things. But why do you looking now to be a state rep?
Well, we need to return citizen legislators back to Harrisburg.
What do you mean when you say citizen legislator?
You serve 2 terms, 8 years, and you go home to your career. This should not be your career. Serving in Harrisburg, if it's your career, you're looking out for yourself and your best interests after a while. So you don't want to reform the pension system or reform the perks and per diems or take some of the big risks. You know, you might have to make an unpopular vote, but it's the right thing to do. If you're not looking at it to be a career, you're more apt to do that kind of thing. You're not worried about getting reelected. Mm-hmm. So I believe we have to return to that citizen legislator. Mm-hmm. It just helps, it charts a better course for our state. That's the way I look at it.
So what do you think you're going to bring then to the state legislature?
Well, to the state legislature, I have a proven track record of managing a successful family business, even with all the obstacles that the state puts in front of our businesses.
I'll second that.
You know, so our family has managed our bakeries 118 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My dad started working when he's 13 and he's 85.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad's seen it all, and so have my family. But, you know, that experience of running a family business, you know, you watch where every dollar's spent. So I did the same thing on Borough Council. I treat that money like it's our family business's money. So I do not spend it just on anything. We watch where every dime goes. And you need to do that in Harrisburg. There's a lot of waste, a lot of mismanagement of funds, and you got to look at where every dime goes. It's a taxpayer's money, so it should be treated with reverence. It shouldn't just be like an unlimited credit card. Mm-hmm. You should spend it the best possible way you can.
Well, right now in Harrisburg, you know, this year or last year, the Republicans took over, you know, the House, the Senate, and the gubernatorial race. You're running as a Republican.
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel that you will be able to bring something to the Republican Party, as well as bring it to the state legislature?
Yes, to the Republican Party. I'm a past chairman of the Schuylkill County Republican Party. So I've been involved in this for a while, and that's one of the reasons I decided to run, too. I've seen it from the inside. But to the Republican Party, you know, we got to get back to our founding fathers' roots. You know, what we were based on was service. These career politicians in Harrisburg just, you know, every dime they take in, they just eat it up. It's a consuming monster. And we need to stop that. We need to get the money. We got to let the taxpayers keep more of their money, for one thing. We got to do everything we possibly can to eliminate property taxes.
Well, you know, Larry, you hear this all the time, you know, when people are running, and I always say that, you know, now you don't have a record as far as a state legislator, no. So you have to present what you want to do based on what you've already done, okay, in your business and in on council. But people tell us that, you know, we're going to do this. We heard way back when we came to the casinos that, wow, you know, we're going to eliminate the property taxes, school taxes are going to go down, et cetera, et cetera. And what happens, they're still paying, you see. And I tell our viewers, don't be misled by any politician who, you know, you could always judge a person by the record. If you didn't do a good job, then get rid of them. If they did a good job, then vote them back in, okay? Now, when we come back, folks, I want to ask Larry about accountability, okay? Because you're stating here, okay, in running for office, I asked you, you were talking about property tax elimination, reforming Harrisburg's system of perks and pensions, leading by example. You know, you also have some concerns about your opponent and some of the things that he said he did and did, as far as you're concerned. There's some misunderstandings here, okay? Folks, I'm talking to Larry Padora, who is running for state representative in the 124th State Legislative District. His website, larrypadora.com. Folks, learn as much as you can about each candidate. It is critical. And don't forget to vote April 24th. When we come back, we have a lot more to talk about. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. Don't forget, folks, ssptv.com. You can watch any of our shows 24/7. I encourage you to go to our website, folks. You're going to be surprised. We produce over 21 shows, and we want to thank everyone for making us the #1 watched local news station in the greater Hazleton area and now Tamaulipan of Schuylkill County. We appreciate that very much. My guest today, folks, is Larry Padora. He's running for state representative in the 124th Legislative District. And we're talking about accountability. We're talking about, who we're going to vote for. And I've said this many times. I don't care who's running. Learn as much as you can about the candidates. Larry said his priorities are completely eliminating property taxation. We've heard it before, folks, okay? Reforming Harrisburg's perks and pension system. I think Brian Rich mentioned about the pension system. Cutting wasteful spending and attracting employers to our region. The big task here, okay? How do you intend to eliminate the property tax, and what has your opponent done?
Well, property tax, how I would intend to eliminate property tax would be supporting, right now there's a bill moving through the House, which is 1776. Right now that bill is for the elimination of your school portion of the property taxes. It has a lot of traction, and it's moving. It's moving pretty well, and hopefully we can deliver that to the people. Because property taxes are one of the most detrimental things for people for their livelihood. Our parents and our grandparents were able to have the ability to own their homes. That's being threatened by what we have now. You can lose your home at any time. As soon as you do not pay your property tax, you lose your home. And so if you eliminate, I eventually would fight for the complete elimination, because then you own your house outright. In the PA Constitution, it says you're allowed to own your property free and clear. Well, with the property tax system we have now, we never own our homes, you rent it. So I would look to, the sales tax, expanding the base of the sales tax, expanding it to more goods and services, and you could completely eliminate the property tax. And that way, if you're paying $2,400 a year, just say, in property tax, if you completely eliminated property tax, you would have to spend $40,000 in additional taxable items under the sales tax to equal your $2,400. But it's a more equitable, it's a more fair tax because it's over broad and based. So it would help eliminate property taxes. And that's one of the bills, I support 1776, but I would also work to eliminate property tax completely. Because like you said, gambling was going to save all of our problems. Yeah, sure. When we voted for that in the one election, it was deemed to me that it was going to get rid of property tax. So we all voted for it. And here it's building casinos in Pittsburgh or building stadiums in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and going to everything else but property tax relief.
Well, now you have here, your opponent has undetermined these efforts with Legislative House Bill 629. What do you mean by that? 629
picks winners over losers. He has a bill that says that if you're a senior making under $40,000 a year, that you won't have to pay property tax. Well, where are you going to make that revenue up? You'd have to raise taxes on everybody else to make that revenue up. So why not fix the problem for everybody? Our seniors want to see the young people succeed too. They want them to have that. One of the greatest things is to own your own home. That's how you build your equity and you build your future, is owning home ownership. So we need to do everything we possibly can so everybody can own a home.
Larry, you also say here, in reforming Harrisburg's system of perks and pensions, you say here, this is what you have here, you can't fix the system when you are a part of the problem. Knowles, that's Jerry Knowles, who is the current legislator, Jerry Knowles signed up for the highest pension possible. You're going to take none. And he hasn't signed on to House Bill 2200 to switch to 401ks for legislators. What do you mean by that?
Well, right now they have a defined pension plan, so it's guaranteed for the rest of their lives. Once they're out of office, if I beat Jerry, he's guaranteed a pension and health insurance for the rest of his life. In the real world, it doesn't work that way. You get a 401k, and then when you're done your job, be it if it was Bethlehem Steel or Morgan's in this area, when you're done your job, that 401k is yours, and you take it where you want. And that's what we need to do with our state legislators and state senators. They need to lead by example. They need to get in line with what it is in the private sector.
Talking about accountability, and that you go on here and says, then there is per diems. Jerry Knowles says he doesn't take per diems. What he does is worse. He nickels and dimes us. Look at his record. $5 for lunch, mileage to Eagle Scout. What are you referring to?
Well, right here is over 68 pages of expenses by Jerry Knowles. And what he does is, if you had to drive to work, if you worked at Bethlehem Steel, you drove to work. Bethlehem Steel didn't pay you to drive to work. You had to make it your own way. Well, we pay 55 cents a mile for them to go to work. Okay, so if you're driving to Harrisburg, that's fine. But they have stuff like driving to an Eagle Scout meeting. Well, it's great. I applaud anybody that supports the Eagle Scouts. I was a Boy Scout when I was younger. But why should the taxpayers pay for your mileage to go to an Eagle Scout function? What's that have to do with your legislative duties? So it's this nickel and diming that everybody's doing that is making our state go bankrupt. And this is the kind of stuff that needs to stop. I won't put in for any mileage or expense in any way, shape, or form. I never had on the borough of New Ringgold, and I won't do it.
How much do you think this totals to?
Tens of thousands of dollars.
And that's only one legislator.
This is only one legislator. So if it's $10,000 by 203.
So you're saying that he's nickel and diming the, okay. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, it's nickel and diming the taxpayers because
you said he also you mentioned before about he charged to go to a funeral.
Yeah, there's mileage expenses to a person's funeral in here. And
well, maybe it was a state legislator's funeral.
Yeah, but you should be going to that out of respect for the state legislator. You shouldn't charge the taxpayers for that.
Well, as a councilman, you mentioned that you're making a whopping $37 a month, but also you said here that before you said that you plow for free.
Yes.
Now, you were plowing for free before you thought you were running for, because see, sometimes when people are running for office, all of a sudden they start joining organizations, they start doing a lot of these good things, okay? But I go always back further when they weren't thinking of running for office. How about when you weren't thinking for, were you still plowing for free?
Yes, we were. Like I said, in our town, we believe in public service. So when we had to rewire our new pavilion that we put up at our playground, the borough councilman, we did it ourselves. It didn't cost the taxpayers anything in the town. The plowing, the reason we do that is because we're a small town. So if I can save that money there, that's more money I can put into the playgrounds for the children, the baseball field, and then also it helps, all the most money we can save, it helps me that I can keep the sewer rates low. So it's all the same pot.
So what's the difference between you, Larry Padora, and your current legislator, Jerry Knowles?
This has been his career since the 80s. He has been on the government dime.
And you're feeling that career politicians are not doing what they should be doing?
No, I believe that career politicians are part of the problem. I believe that you should serve 8 years. If 8 years was good enough for George Washington and Ronald Reagan, that's good enough for everybody else.
But would you think that experience is a good thing?
They have experience. If you have experience, if you run 8 years as a state legislator and you do a great job and people really want you there, then you should run for Senate.
Okay.
And try to reform Senate.
So you're definitely for term limits?
Yes.
You're saying, 100%. Larry Padora, you're going to be in there for 8 years and then you're gone. No matter how great you're doing, no matter how fantastic, and they have petitions out for you to stay, Larry Padora is leaving after 8
years as a state legislator, and maybe then I'll decide to run for something else. But
folks, I'm talking to Larry Padora, LarryPadora.com. He's running for state legislator in the 124th State Legislative District. Remember what I said, folks. Learn as much as you can about the politicians who are running for office. We'll be back after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. I'm talking to Larry Padora. Larry is running for state legislator in the 124th Legislative District, and he's here to tell you why you should vote for him in this primary election, April 24th. You say here, Larry, that one of your priorities is attracting employers to our region. That's interesting.
Well, our state's become a transient state. Our young people have no reason to stay here. We've lost all of our industries. Bethlehem Steel, down in our area, J.E. Morgan's knitting mills, shut down. How many businesses have left this area because we are at the bottom for the corporate tax rate? We're 49th in the country. So if you're a business, why would you want to locate here? So we have to do everything in our power to make our state more attractive to get businesses here. So the property tax that I want to get rid of, that's another thing. If we eliminate property tax on businesses, it gives them a reason to locate here. We have to look at lowering our corporate tax rates. It's
funny how people think, people feel that, well, they're big corporations, they can afford it. And yes, maybe they can, but they don't also realize that corporations are smart and they're always looking for a bottom line.
That's right.
And when you're looking for a bottom line, they owe Pennsylvania nothing. Okay, so it doesn't make any difference, and that's why we are not attracted. You mentioned something before that's near and dear to me as a small businessman. As I mentioned to all politicians, including Congressman Barletta, Congressman Holden, you name the politician, even Governor Corbett when he sat there. Why do they keep on pounding the small business people? We are the people that are out there trying to maintain employment. Okay, you're a small business person, all right? And they keep on making our lives so difficult because, I think it's sometimes, are you nuts in the head? You want to make us, make it friendly for me, easier for me to keep my employees going and for me to grow. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I agree completely because they just throw every roadblock they possibly can to small business. And that's what the problem is. Small businesses and the entrepreneurs, my whole family is entrepreneurs. We went out and created our own way. We work with our hands. So people like my opponent and Brian's opponent can have a job. So instead of helping, they should be helping us instead of hindering us every way they can. And we don't do enough for our small business communities. It seems like we get overlooked.
Well, I just think it's absolutely crazy. If you have a person who's in business, and no matter who it is, you got there for some reasons. It didn't happen overnight. Okay, your father developed the business. He didn't have a magic wand, and so what happens? You work hard at it. And I think people have to understand what do you have now? And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just looking at the whole picture. What do we have now? We're paying, it's struggling. Our energy prices are going to the roof. We're not getting the kind of jobs we want. But they keep on telling us, your life is fantastic. You guys are doing great, okay? I can't understand it.
I wish I was doing as well as they said. But what it is like our state right now, North Dakota, is booming because they found oil in their state. They're paying $18 an hour to work at McDonald's. Our state has the Marcellus gas shale. We need to do everything we can to develop that in an environmentally friendly way, but we need to promote that industry because that could save Pennsylvania. And coal. We need energy. We need cheap, reliable energy. What made this area great? Coal.
We got billions of tons of coal. And it's interesting because, you go to city areas and when they think of coal, they think of coal dust and, environmental destruction, which is completely nonsense. It doesn't even come that way. Coal is completely under control, the environment, etc. So, Larry, you're telling the viewers, okay, in your 124th district, that you do have the qualifications to go into the legislature to eliminate property taxes, to reform Harrisburg perks and pension system, cutting wasteful spending, and attracting employers to our regions. And you're saying after 8 years, you're out of there, whether, no matter how successful you are.
Yes, because, like I said, that's part of the problem. If you're there, that's your career, you're only worried about getting reelected.
What about people who are major contributors? Because listen, if my company is a big company and I say, Larry, I'm going to give you $30,000, okay, for you to run for office, I want something. There's no question about it, okay? How do you feel about that?
I don't think you should be beholden to anybody. The only people you should be beholden to is the taxpayers of Pennsylvania.
Senior citizens get wrapped all the time. People on fixed incomes get wrapped all the time. Thank God we had a mild winter. Thank God we had that. But in the 2 minutes you have left, tell our viewers why we should vote for Larry Padora. It's a very important, prestigious position, and you have a lot of lives at stake here.
Well, for one thing, I bring a youthful energy to it. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I work every day in our family business. We get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We work 7 days a week. We need to return to citizen legislators. We need to put people in there that this isn't their career, that this isn't their only way to make money, because you got to go there for the right reasons. We need to put people in Harrisburg that are going to put the voters and taxpayers of our state first. We need people that are going to look out to get our jobs. Like you said with seniors, you eliminate property tax, more of our seniors can stay in their homes. Yes. And that's a big thing for me.
I look at your family here. Beautiful family. I see 2 beautiful daughters, your wife, etc. And, children, I have 3 grandchildren, and I'm very much concerned about their future. My question I always ask to politicians, and I look at them right in the eye, and I ask you this question: can I trust Larry Padora?
Yes. I have a proven track record of doing what I say and doing what I say and saying what I mean.
And you'll be accountable.
I'll be accountable. I'll have an open door policy with anybody. I'll sit down and meet with anybody. With being in Borough Council, I know what it is for municipalities to struggle that we have to put up with Harrisburg. All the roadblocks they throw in front of municipalities and townships and school districts. Sometimes Harrisburg should step back and these places could save their own problems.
I think sometimes they sit there, how do we make people's lives miserable? Just small business people, let's screw the senior citizens more so. Let's hire, you know, I mean, it's just crazy. LarryPadora.com, Facebook.com/Larry Padora. Learn as much as you can, folks, about the politicians. If you feel that Larry Padora is the person, vote for him. If not, vote for somebody else. But please check the qualifications of the individual people who are running. Larry, congratulations on running. I applaud anybody who's running for office today. We just want to make sure that we have honest people that are telling us the truth. So I wish you the best.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'll echo your sentiment. We need to vote. People need to get involved and vote and learn about the candidates, and that's the way we can take our government back.
And whatever you do, do not stop making that fantastic bread. Okay?
We won't.
The Italian Bakery in Padora Six-Pack House, Railroad Street, Tamaka. Whether you vote for him or not, just buy the bread. It's fantastic. We'll see you next time.